I think what you need to do to accomplish this is you need to set bold, short-term strategies. Do you know what happens during a period of time like this? It happened right after 9/11. A mindset envelops the business world. I call it aggressive indecision. Everybody's not sure what's going to happen next. Everybody's nervous about what's going to happen next. Uncertainty drives indecision, and we get very aggressive about it. Everybody stops making decisions. We're not going to spend. We're not going to invest. We're not going to try this new project. We're not going to implement this new technology. We're going to cut back our R&D budget. We're not going to do anything because we're fearful of what is going to happen in the future. But here's what I've learned from what organizations have done in the past when faced with challenging times. You know, I wrote a blog entry a couple of weeks ago. I called it the 7 stages of economic grief. That's what's unfolding here. When you lose a loved one, you go through a bereavement process. You go through anger, denial, eventually acceptance. And you know, the stunning speed with which this economic meltdown has occurred, the same type of shock has occurred to the system. And a lot of people right now, they're in the anger stage. They're in the denial stage. The speed of the last 2 months with which these events have unfolded is stunning. But my challenge to my clients, my challenge is to you, where and when do you want to innovate? What I'm seeing organizations do right now who are driven by aggressive indecision is, we're going to wait until we come out of this thing. We're going to wait until the economy is rosy. We're going to wait until the world is wonderful again. And then we're going to start to innovate. We're going to look at R&D. We're going to try new projects. Innovation leaders are working right now at the anger and denial stage in the midst of the economic recession to prepare themselves for growth when the growth comes about. And the growth is going to occur. You know, I see organizations, you know, are sitting back and they're making fundamental decisions, and you should do the same thing too. We're going to commit to 3 ideas that we heard at this conference, and we're going to go back and implement those. We're going to get executive level support for some experiential capital investment. We're going to try some projects. We're going to try some ideas that we learned here simply because we think it's important that our people get the experience. The more experience our people get with all the innovative ideas that we've heard in the last few days, the more experience we build up. The more experience we build up, the more experiential capital we have. The more experiential capital we have, the better we are positioned to deal with the future. I think what you've got to do is you've got to walk away from this room and you've got to articulate some rapid, fast, short-paced, short-term strategies, and you've got to take some aggressive decisions to pursue these things now. Otherwise, you're going to go out there and you're going to be smothered by the blanket of negativity, you know, which seems to surround so much of the world today. I think the biggest challenge when you go to a conference like this with so many brilliant ideas, with so much brilliant insight, with so much information to share, you walk out the door, and all of a sudden, the challenges of the world as they exist at this moment in time hit you squarely back in the head. So how do you innovate? How do you keep your enthusiasm? How do you keep changing the world? How do you take your ideas and ensure that you can keep charging forward with them so that the world can change and so that we can transform this massively complex healthcare system? Well, I want to give you 6 ideas that I think you need to focus on as you leave the conference. Number 1, as soon as you go out this door, you're going to have to put your armor back on. Okay? The reality is you will walk out this door, and the economic dark clouds are out there, and all the aura of everything that is going wrong with the global economy will hit you square in the face. And not only that, what makes it more challenging is if you work in the healthcare system or if you're a technology company, the challenge as soon as you go back to work is this. Something I've learned in dealing with innovation through the last 15 years is that in every single organization, there is a group of people who wake up every single morning and the first idea that comes to their mind is this: how am I going to kill innovative ideas today? Seriously, this is what they do. I've learned this. They get up, even before they think about, reaching for a coffee or a cigarette, they are thinking, how am I going to kill innovation today? And I've written about this in articles. I've spoken about this on stage. I've written this into books. I call these people the innovation killers. And what they do is as soon as you get back to work, they will work to sap the energy out of you in terms of all the great ideas and enthusiasm that you've built up through the last several days. And they do this through the use of a whole bunch of code words and phrases. This is what you're going to encounter. You're going to go back to work. You're going to be full of ideas. You're going to be full of positive energy, full of initiatives and things we could be doing. And you're going to go into a meeting, and people are going to come back to you with the innovation killers. What do? What do they say? They say things like, well, you can't do that idea because it won't work because we've always done things this way. They will come at you with phrases such as, it's the dumbest idea I ever heard. They will come at you with concepts that it's too complicated to work in the world of healthcare. They will say to you, the issues are too large and too big to pursue. They will say to you, it can't be done. The boss won't go for it. The funding isn't there. The challenge is, as you leave here, you can lose your enthusiasm. But here's the thing. We know how big the technology and innovation is going to be in the world healthcare system. We know that, the challenge that we're faced with, it's huge. It's massive. You heard some other numbers. Healthcare could be 70% of some states' GDP within 5 to 10 years. Folks, the scope of this problem is absolutely astounding. And everything you have heard in the last 3 days provides everything that is necessary to fix the scope of the problem that exists.
Think about the reality of what exists in the world of business today. We are in a situation in which the customer is different. The customer has really changed through the last 10 years. The customer, their expectations of what we need to deliver, they expect absolute perfection in everything they do. Everything we do in terms of the relationship. They expect excellence in product. They expect excellence in customer service. And you know what? They're more demanding. What they expect of you, whether you're a services company, an insurance company, a pharmaceutical company, their expectations of what you should deliver. If you're in retail, you are measured against the best. And what this is doing is, this is happening in the context in which they're becoming fickle. Don't know if that's a word that translates well. They're less loyal. Customers today are more likely to take their business elsewhere if they have a dissatisfactory relationship with you. Because things are changing so darn quickly out there. This is happening in the context in which everything is becoming a commodity. Think about what is happening in so many industries. We're getting so much new competition. The China price, the ongoing cost reduction in the production of goods and services is causing many organizations to choose to compete on price. Think about what this does. Our top revenue dollar is going down because we've got to work harder to compete with the consumer. Our margins are getting squeezed. Our products are becoming commodities. Customers have so much choice. And when your product becomes a commodity, it becomes a losing game. This is happening in the context in which you're faced with continual new competitors. The blurring of industries, where industries are competing with other industries. Industries where new competitors are marching in. And industries where, yes, new .com potential competitors are coming back into the marketplace. We are in a situation in which every organization in every industry is faced with dramatic new forms of competition that have never previously existed. In this period of absolutely rapid and dramatic change. This is all happening, as products and services continue to evolve with this shortened product life cycle that I call hyper-innovation. We live in some pretty challenging times. We need to shake ourselves out of any complacency that we can continue doing tomorrow what